Rather, yeah. Watch it. Just take these chains away and set me free. We're moving out of bondage, and we will all agree. To not be a slave, I wanna be no more. And I'd rather to be a slave than to be locked behind the door. I want to help myself be an independent man. And I want no one to give me anything I have. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't just give a damn. I just wanna be all around. I want to help myself be an independent man. I don't know how to give me anything I have. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't give a damn. I just wanna be all around. Watch it. Just take these chains away and set me free. We're moving out of bondage, and we will all agree. You have not been a slave, I wanna be no more. And I'd rather to be a slave than to be locked behind the door. I want to help myself be an independent man. And I want no one to give me anything I have. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't just give a damn. I just wanna be all around. I want to help myself be an independent man. I want no one to give me anything I have. Whether you're black, whether you are white, I don't give a damn. I just wanna be all around. Just take these chains away and set me free. We're moving out of bondage, and we will all agree. Too long I've been a slave, I wanna be no more. I'd rather to be a slave than to be locked behind the door.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. This is Claston Bernard coming to you with the New Right Network. Had a little technical difficulty this morning in getting started, but here we go. Let's talk about the week in review and what has transpired. The collusion delusion as you would think would be over by now, but for some reason it continues. Led led by the charge of the great Adam Schiff and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and other people in their insinuation that there's still obstruction. Never mind Mueller, who was their altar boy before this report dropped, that he was going to prove, that the president or his team was involved in the greatest scheme or scam to scam the American people for the 2016 election results. Never mind that democracy has prevailed. Never mind that American people can pick up the pieces from all the lies and the deceptions over the last 2 years or 2.5 years. Never mind any of that. Well, let's continue to go down the road because now being proven innocent under some of the most trying circumstances is not good enough. We there's still a there. So let's see what the there. You know, Part of the issue is that we need to move on. We need to move on, and there need to be consequences for the lies that's been perpetuated to the American public. Think about it. Just no one wants to back away. The election that was done the proper way. People try to meddle. No one is saying no one tried to meddle. But as far as it goes, the president or anyone in his team did not. Let's move on from there. Now, no colored allow, no colored allow, no colors allowed. We've been through that. We've dealt with Jim Crow, but this past week in Savannah, Georgia, they had posted on the door, "No whites allowed." How did we get to that point? In my book, Outcast, no room at the table, no room, no room at the table for a conservative black voice in Black America. Well, I intend to be a voice in Black America, no matter what. I talk about that we continue to excuse bad behaviors by bad black actors in trying to frame it in the historical sense of what has transpired. Well, most people living today were never slaves, and thankfully, most didn't experience Jim Crow. There are still people who lived during that time period. Sad to say, but how is no whites allowed signs any different from no blacks or no colored allowed? Why would we continue to support evil? It doesn't matter what foot it is on. Evil is evil. Jim Crow was evil. And to post a sign that says no whites allowed is evil. Now, the question is, should that give people in this country who are not black a pause to say you can be that brazen and that heinous in your thought process? And then again, this was at a church. Think about it. You are at a church that is supposed to be free from bias. Putting a sign on the door says no whites allowed. I thought all are welcome. All should be welcome in the place of worship or the house of God. All should be welcome, irrespective of ethnicity. But here we are in 2019 being told that whites are not allowed at an event that will dictate public outcomes in a mayoral election. Disturbing, very disturbing. I've always said this: the past does not give us an excuse to perpetuate crime or criminal activities against people who a lot of times frankly don't or didn't participate in such event. It's not a path we want to go down. It's not a path that we should go down. America is bigger than this. No whites are allowed. And there's no outrage. And these candidates that participated in this event, there's no excuse. If someone white had gone and done this, it would be hell to pay. The media would be all over this. It would be a never ending cycle, and somehow they would try to find a way to pin it on President Trump, like Rahm Emanuel. He had, for a moment, I was, man, this guy is really coming out against the wrong that just Smollett did and what the DA had transpired afterwards. But then he pivoted and says, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, then we wouldn't be living in this kind of environment. Mr. Emmanuel, are you saying that the reason why there's hatred is because of Donald Trump? You're saying the reason that individuals are not responsible for their actions anymore? Is that the slippery slope you want to continue to go down? This is a very slippery slope. Is this what you want for America? That individuals are not held responsible for the things or their actions? Somehow, because of the blind hatred of the president, and when it's not the president, it's conservative values or views, it is always someone else's fault. You have on a church door, no whites allowed on a church. The event being led by a pastor. Then you have former Attorney General Holder saying America was never great. What America are you talking about being great? Well, he got checked by Vice President Mike Pence, pushing this filth. He's also been pushing the abandoning of the electoral college. America was never great, dude. Why do you think so many people, including myself, want to be in this country if America was never great? I've said it before in many of my videos. In the 80s, watching Rocky movie and watching James Brown come out there, it was James Brown. Living in America. That song was just there's so much behind that song. I saw that as a kid, especially a kid who enjoys watching boxing and then seeing. I was into that. I was into this America. America was great then. You produce MLK. You produce Booker T. Washington, James Brown, Dr. Ben Carson, George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass. In spite of slavery, in spite of Jim Crow, you have people like Baldwin, just great orator, great writer. The list goes on and on and on and on, irrespective of the oppressive system of Jim Crow. One of the things that is always often overlooked by this whole Jim Crow era was that they never deprived, in most instances, blacks of obtaining land, which is very important in a capitalistic system. Land, property, you can develop it, you can use it, because without property, it's very difficult for anyone to gain wealth. Without property, it's very difficult, whether it's in farming or housing, whatever the case is. It's very hard. But Jim Crow didn't deprive blacks of that. Yes, there were shady characters, there were shady laws. I get that, Attorney General Holder. But for you to say the country that is having people pouring across the border right now was never great is ludicrous. And it is deceptive to the core. You were a black attorney general. Was America not great for doing that? Yeah, under a black president, was America not great for doing that? We've had black Supreme Court justices. Is America not great for doing that? Some of the best athletes in this country, in this world, have been black. Is America not great for doing that? One of the premier black universities was started by a black man, Booker T. Washington. Was America not great for doing that? MLK, leader of the civil rights movement. Was America not great for doing that? A civil war. Over a half a million whites got killed. Was America not great for doing that? No, get the kicker. Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slave, and you can dispute for whatever reasons, a number of different reasons, but he was the one who signed the proclamation and freed the slaves. He was not elected by the Electoral College. How about that? The same Electoral College that you and your cronies, AOC and Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or whoever the Booker are now talking about abolishing. Abraham Lincoln didn't win the popular vote, brother, or the Electoral College. What do you say about that? This is some ludicrous argument. America was never great. So, America, explain this to me. So now America is great when blacks running for office can put on the door for church, no whites are allowed. Does that define greatness to you? Does it defines does it define greatness when evil goes unchecked, irrespective of how you look? Is that greatness? Is that greatness when a mayor for a city will blame another man for another man's action? Just Smollett is a sociopath. Only a sociopath would do something like that. And you will blame another person for that. Every man is responsible for their actions. Every single man. What is the beauty about being in a country that prides itself on individual accomplishment and achievement is that individuals are also responsible for the wrongs they perpetuate. How do we continue to listen to this mess? What will happen if blacks become the majority? If they're this bold and now to put up these signs, what will happen? It's a question that people need to be asking. What will happen? America was never great. Come on now. How did you become Attorney General? How? How did you get elevated to one of the highest position of in the land? How? How did we get to this point? So they're expecting over a million people to come into this country illegally this year. What's not great about our country? I want to know. I would love to know. You know, evil should always be checked. When evil that's knocking at your door, remember it says, watch out, evil is knocking at your door. And if you continue to look at it, if you continue to support it, it would lead to untold hurt and pain. They didn't have guns then when the young man was being warned. Check what's at your door, your heart's door. Evil's line there, he continued to allow his anger to stew. He says, watch your anger, watch it. Evil is knocking at your door. Watch your resentment. Watch your resentment. If you do right, if you do right, you will be accepted. If you do wrong, there are consequences. Watch your resentment. Oh no, my brother is doing too well. The system is unfair to me. The system is rigged. The system is rigged. He has more than I have. And that is a problem. So I'll let it stew. I'll let this anger continue. I'll let it build. This is getting I'm gonna just let it stew. Man, I you know what? He got this privilege, and because of this privilege is why his crops and his production is better than mine. It's not that he worked hard. It's not that he did what is right. It's not that. It's because of privileges. Like I said, they didn't have guns then, but the anger continued to brew. His resentment continued to brew. It continued and it continues and continues to brew. Eventually, he said to his brother, yeah, we're good. We're brothers. You know, hey, let's take a walk. Let's go out there and probably go look at our fields and see what's going on. He might have said, look at all the. You have a lot of nice stuff. He himself have a lot of nice stuff, but he know he didn't do his best, and because he didn't do his best, this is why he didn't have all the rewards. So says, come on, man, let's go. I know you're white and I'm black, or whatever the case are. I'm black and you white, whatever the cases are. I'm white and you're black. Let's go out there in the field and let's go and talk. Whatever. We're brothers. Do you see where I'm going with this? We're brothers. We're created by the same Father. This is America. We're one country. We should be American first. So let's walk along. Let's go on, brother. Let's talk. Man, what's this down there? Oh, that's a nice big rock. Man, let me pick it up and, you know, man, you know, brother, you've always had privileges that I don't have, even though we've been given land, even though we have now been given opportunities to produce, even though we have now been given great resources. And here he goes. His brother keeps walking and he just had the rock in his hand and he, bam, knocked him out cold. He killed him. Killed him. He was warned, watch your resentment. No one today has lived through slavery. And I said, most people living today have not lived through Jim Crow, not excusing any of the past atrocities or the evils, but to believe that we should support any policies that will encourage it on the reverse side, like what is going on in Savannah, Georgia, at a church, is foolhardy, and it will only end in destruction. America, we are one country. As an immigrant to this country, I was able to identify as an American not because of my color, not because of my accent, but because the Constitution says all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with unalienable rights, which is life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That's the creed of this country. Let's play to that. Attorney General Holder, that statement in itself is greatness because I am here and I can say I am an American. And the beauty is people here accept me as an American because I believe in assimilation I love American history. It's a great history. I love the opportunities that this country has offered me and my family. There are great people in this country. There are great sites. There are great states. And they're evil. There are people on the fringes who will do whatever they can to get their messages across. But those people should be held accountable. People like Just Smut. People who drive cars in crowd. They should be held responsible for their actions. As individuals, a group of people should never be demonized to further political agendas or to marginalize a group of people so they can gain political advantage. This is America, and this place is a beacon of hope for many in this world. This is Claston Bernard signing off. Take the chains away and set yourself free. Release yourself from bondage.